My family's a war zone. When my stepmom burned everything my mom left, I had to act. What happened next? You won't believe it. It was one of those perfect summer days, the kind where the sun is high, the air's warm, but not unbearable, and you're just trying to make the most of your vacation. That was me, Ricardo, 22 years old, with a camera slung around my neck, a backpack full of random stuff I didn't even need, and a smile that could probably convince anyone I had my life together. I was just another tourist, wandering around the city, soaking up the sights like a sponge. And of course, I was snapping pictures like a maniac. You know, just doing what every millennial does when they're on vacation. But then, I saw them, the Royal Guard, those dudes who stand there like statues, looking like they're about to give you a one-way ticket to the Tower of London if you even think about messing with them. They're just standing there, all stiff and stoic, and something in me just snapped. I mean, who wouldn't want to mess with them a little, right? I thought to myself, what's the worst that could happen? So there I was, walking up to this guy, and he's just doing his whole guarding thing. No movement, not even blinking. He looks like he's been standing there for 1,000 years. I pull out my bottle of water, pop off the cap, and just casually walk up to him, like I'm about to ask him for directions. And then, bam, I splash the dude right in the face. Now, before you go thinking I'm some kind of monster, let me tell you, it wasn't like I was trying to drown him or anything. I just thought, hey, it'll be a funny moment, right? People will laugh. I mean, it's just water. No harm, no foul. Except, yeah, no. The smile on my face didn't last long. The second the water hit him, he didn't even flinch. This guy was like a rock. Like, dude, how are you standing there so still after I just drenched you? I kind of froze for a second, waiting for him to do something, and anything. But nothing. He didn't even blink. So I just backed off, figuring he'd either kick me out of the square or laugh it off like the rest of us would. But no, this was where I made my big mistake. See, instead of just ignoring it, the system kicked in. Like all of a sudden, I was the villain in a movie, and the camera was now on me. I start walking away, feeling pretty good about myself, like, yeah, I just pranked the Royal Guard. They'll be talking about this one for years. I turn around to go back to my friends, still laughing, still thinking it was just some harmless fun. Then, bam! I felt someone tap me on the shoulder. I turned around, and there were 2 police officers looking at me like I just set fire to a church or something. I'm talking dead serious. No smile, no humor, just cold, hard stares. Before I could even ask, "What's the deal, officer?" one of them grabbed my camera. "What the hell?" I blurted out. "What are you doing? It's just a prank, man." They didn't even respond, just took my camera, without even explaining why. I was in complete shock. What started as a harmless joke spiraled into a full-blown mess. And honestly, that was just the beginning. I didn't even realize what I'd stepped into. The thing is, when you mess with the system, it doesn't matter if you were just trying to make people laugh. It's like opening Pandora's box. I had just walked into a nightmare I never saw coming. This wasn't just some, oh, you're in trouble moment. No, this was the start of something a hell of a lot bigger. As I was being led away by the cops, I could already feel the weight of what I'd just done. But here's the thing. I thought I was in the clear, right? But no, this joke turned into a real problem. It wasn't about water anymore. It was about pride. It was about rules. And guess what? I was the one who'd broken them. What had I gotten myself into? 30 minutes later, I found myself in the coldest, most sterile place I'd ever been, the police station. There's something about the way those walls close in on you that instantly makes you realize you messed up, like the air itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to screw up even more. My hands were shaking, and it wasn't from the cold, trust me. More like the aftermath of the dumbest prank I'd ever pulled. I leaned against a metal chair, trying to look cool, trying to act like I wasn't absolutely terrified of what was about to go down. Spoiler alert, I wasn't cool at all. I glanced up, and there he was. The officer who looked like he just stepped out of a textbook on how to be seriously intimidating. This dude didn't have a single twitch on his face, just that stare that could freeze fire. He looked me over like I was some kind of bug under a microscope, like he could smell the panic dripping off me. "Do you have any idea what you done, kid?" he said, his voice all low and serious. I swear his words felt like a punch to the stomach. I thought about cracking a joke, something to lighten the mood, but the sweat on my palms made it clear this was no laughing matter. I opened my mouth to say something, anything to justify myself, but then his partners walked in one by one, like they were gearing up for some kind of interrogation scene from an action movie. My heart was pounding. I'm trying to figure out how to play this. Maybe if I just laugh it off, make them see I'm just some idiot who didn't mean any harm? Nah, that wasn't gonna fly. I tried to laugh. I tried to joke. Come on, guys, it's just water. I didn't do anything crazy, I said, like that would fix it, but they weren't buying it. They didn't even crack a smile. They were all business, and I was suddenly feeling like I'd just stepped into a hole I couldn't climb out of. Water? The cop's eyes narrowed. You think pouring water on a royal guard is funny? That's not a prank, kid. That's public disorder. That's disrespect. You think this is just a joke? I swallowed hard. This wasn't how I'd imagined this going down. Honestly, I thought it was a harmless prank, just a quick laugh and we'd all forget about it by sunset. But now it was turning into some serious mess. Look, dude, I didn't mean any disrespect. Yeah, that's what they all say, the officer interrupted, his voice like a brick wall. But here's the thing. You've disrupted peace, caused a scene. You want to act like a clown? Now you gotta pay the price. I tried to protest, but nothing I said seemed to matter. My laughter, my nonchalant attitude, it only made things worse. They were taking this seriously, way too seriously. And that's when I realized the full scale of what I'd done. This wasn't some harmless street joke. I wasn't dealing with a couple of annoyed tourists. This was about power. This was about making an example out of someone who dared to step out of line. What didn't hit me at first was the attention this was getting. As soon as I was thrown into that interrogation room, my little stunt exploded all over the internet. I mean, seriously, the moment I got in trouble, it was like every phone camera turned into a snitch. Clips of me dousing the royal guard went viral faster than I could blink. Every news station picked it up. And guess what? People weren't laughing. At least, not the way I thought they would. I could already hear the chaos in the comment sections. Who does this guy think he is? What kind of idiot thinks it's okay to disrespect the royal guard like that? Some people got it, though. They thought it was just a harmless joke, but that wasn't what was getting the most traction. The media was hyping it up like I was some kind of criminal mastermind. And of course, that's when the firestorm really started. One comment I saw was like a punch to the gut. What if they actually punish him for just acting like a fool? Yeah, I had a feeling things were going to get a lot worse than just a slap on the wrist. The thing is, no one was really asking, what's the big deal? They were all too busy judging me as some disrespectful tourist who didn't understand the rules. The rules being that there's no such thing as a joke when it comes to authority. I thought back to that moment, standing there with that guard, thinking I was pulling off the prank of the century. Now I was in, way over my head. I was facing a system that didn't care about my side of the story, didn't care about whether or not I thought it was funny. No, they cared about control. They cared about making sure that everyone who ever thought about pulling something like that would think twice next time. And here I was, caught in the crossfire. The next morning, I found myself sitting on that dreaded bench in the courtroom, looking down at the floor like I could somehow disappear into it. I swear, if I could have melted into the ground like a puddle of regret, I would have done it in a heartbeat. The air felt thick, and it wasn't just because of the stairs. The judge was sitting up there, all high and mighty, staring at me with this look that could freeze lava. You could tell he wasn't having any of my crap, and every time I tried to meet his eyes, it felt like I was being condemned to some kind of permanent timeout. Behind me were the cops, looking all serious, like they were just waiting for me to say something stupid. Trust me, I didn't want to make things worse, but the whole situation felt unreal. How the hell did I go from cracking a dumb joke to sitting here on trial like I'd committed some national crime? The prosecution was ready to throw the book at me, claiming I'd attacked a symbol of royal power or whatever. I was starting to wonder if this was all some messed up dream. It felt like I was the punchline of a joke no one was laughing at. But just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, bam, it did. Out of nowhere, This older black dude, James, who I hadn't even noticed before, stood up from the back of the courtroom and shuffled to the microphone. He wasn't what I expected at all. This man had the kind of vibe that demanded attention, not by shouting or making a scene, but just by being there. It was like he had a lifetime's worth of wisdom hidden in his silence, and now he was ready to let it all spill out. "I was there," he started, his voice steady but filled with something deep, something that hit me right in the gut. "I saw this kid do his thing. He wasn't trying to hurt anyone. The dude's just an idiot who thought he was being funny. But now, look at all this mess. Why is he getting crucified for something stupid, just because he's not one of those people who can mess up and walk away with no consequences?" I swear, when those words left his mouth, the whole courtroom froze. Even the judge, who'd been glaring at me like I'd murdered someone, looked like he didn't know what hit him. The air changed. It wasn't just about me anymore. It wasn't just about some dumb prank. James had just cracked open a whole can of worms that no one expected. His words were like a slap in the face, but it wasn't just for me. It was like he was telling the whole room, "You're all missing the bigger picture here." I could see the murmurs start. People were looking at me differently now. The sympathy I thought I'd lost. It was coming back, but it wasn't for the prank. It was for me as a person, as a symbol of what was really wrong here. Then things started getting real. The prosecution, the defense, everyone in that courtroom was starting to ask the real questions. What if this wasn't just some kid messing up? What if this was about something bigger? What if it was about a system that doesn't let anyone screw up, unless you fit a certain mold? What if I wasn't just being punished for being an idiot? What if I was being punished because I wasn't supposed to make mistakes? And what if, in some twisted way, my mistake was just a reflection of a much deeper problem in how people like me get treated? I could feel the weight of it all crashing down on me. This wasn't just a question of me getting in trouble for a stupid joke. This was about respect, about power, about who gets to break the rules and who gets stomped on for doing the same thing. I wasn't just sitting in a courtroom anymore. I was sitting in the middle of a damn social war, and the stakes were way higher than I'd ever imagined. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about the prank. This wasn't just about some dumb decision I made in a moment of too much confidence. This was a fight for something bigger. James wasn't just defending me. He was saying, "This is about fairness. This is about justice. This is about making sure no one gets punished for being who they are." The room had shifted. My stupid prank had turned into something that felt like a fight for what was right. And somehow, I was in the middle of it, whether I liked it or not. Would I come out of this with my dignity intact? Would the system give me a break? Or was this going to be a lesson in how small people get crushed underfoot for doing things they're not supposed to do? One thing was for sure. This wasn't going to end the way I thought it would. If I were Ricardo, I'd be freaking out. Ever had something small blow up on you? Drop your thoughts below and hit, like if this resonates. Your opinion matters, and this story is here to spark change.